My name is Alex. This was my first night at the 7-Eleven on 14th Street. I got the job quickly. I needed the money fast. The manager, old Mrs. Jenkins, handed me a crumpled piece of paper. This is for the new guys, Alex. Read it carefully. She looked tired. Her eyes never rested on anything for more than a second. On the paper it said, "Night shift rules, 7-Eleven. Read, follow, survive." Ominous, right? I laughed then. But now I know. It wasn't a joke. It was a warning. The rules were numbered. Rule 1 stated, after 1 a.m., all cameras except camera 4, freezer, operate in black and white mode. Do not switch to color. Ever. I checked the monitors. Sure enough, grainy, black and white, distorted footage. Camera 4, the only one in color, flickered with an unhealthy, oversaturated red light, illuminating the empty frozen food section. Rule 2 was strange. Every hour from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m., set the clock on the register back by 1 minute. This was meant to confuse someone or something. When I did this at 1 a.m., I heard a low, drawn-out scrape coming from beneath the floor, right where the Slurpee pipes run. Rule 3. Never, under any circumstances, look outside through the main window from 2:17 a.m. to 2:22 a.m. Keep your head down. I set a timer on my phone. 2:17 a.m. I couldn't resist. Curiosity was stronger than instinct, and I slowly looked up. The street was empty, illuminated by the sickly yellow glow of the street lamp. But my heart stopped. The reflection in the glass showed that I was not alone. Right over my shoulder, almost touching me, stood a tall, unnaturally slender figure. It had no face, just an outline, and it was absolutely motionless. I froze, trying to breathe silently. The figure stood there until the timer on my phone reached 2:22 a.m. With a loud, distorted crackle, the reflection vanished. I spun around sharply. No one was behind me. A total, ringing silence. Everything was normal, except for one thing. On the counter, right in front of my workspace, stood a Slurpee cup filled with blue liquid. I don't recall anyone coming in. I didn't make it. The cup was cold, and I swore I heard a quiet, wet, slurping sound coming from inside. I understood. Rule 3 was not for protection. It was to ensure it had enough time to approach. I pushed the damned cup aside. My heart was still racing. I opened the manual to Rule 4. If a customer enters between 3 a.m. and 3:30 a.m., who has purchased nothing but Doritos Spicy Sweet Chili Chips or Dunkin' Donuts Extra Bold Coffee, do not serve them. Close your eyes and silently wait for them to leave. Do not speak a single word. I looked at the clock. 03:05 a.m. And then the door opened. A guy walked in, ordinary, in a hoodie, looking like a student who'd been studying all night. He went to the drink fridge, grabbed a bottle of water, and headed to the chip aisle. He picked up a bag of Doritos Spicy Sweet Chili. My stomach clenched. But he turned back to the drinks and grabbed another bottle of water. I exhaled. He came to the counter. I scanned the items. $8.45. That'll be $8.45, I said. He lifted his head. Under the hoodie was an unnatural, blinding darkness, as if he had no face. I froze, trying to remember. He only had one bag of chips in his hands, but the scanner displayed 2. I had broken Rule 4. The darkness under his hood seemed to deepen, pulling light inward. I realized the water was a distraction. He was waiting for me to talk. My vocal cords locked up. He slowly reached out a hand across the counter. It wasn't to pay. It was reaching for my badge. Then, the power flickered, and the security feed cut to static. I shut off monitor 4. Cold sweat drenched me. Jenkins. She tried to warn me, and now she was part of the ice. I looked at the Slurpee cup that had appeared earlier. The blue liquid was pulsating. I returned to the manual. Rule 6 was the last one on the list, but it was circled with incredible pressure. It was written in a different, trembling handwriting. Rule 6. If you hear it knocking on the freezer glass, camera 4, you must immediately make a new Slurpee in the blueberry electric flavor. You must give it something to make it leave. But most importantly, before pouring, quickly, in a whisper, say your name into the empty cup. This buys you time. 03:55 a.m. I heard the first knock. Took. Quiet, but clear. It came from the freezer. Then a second, louder one. Took. It knew I was watching. I ran to the Slurpee machine. I found the right syrup, blueberry electric. This was the only way. I took an empty cup, brought it to my lips and whispered, "Alex." Then I pushed the button. The thick, purple liquid began to fill the cup. But when I looked up, it was standing behind the machine. It was tall, thin, and the shadows clung to it like heavy clothes. The cup was his now, and I had given it my name. I stood motionless until the shadow disappeared. No sound, only a quiet, wet slurping coming from the direction of the parking lot. I didn't dare to look. When the clock struck 4 a.m., the rules were over. I quickly shut off all the monitors, just as I was instructed. I rushed towards the door. At the threshold, I remembered Rule 7, the most important one. I hadn't seen it before. It was at the very bottom, written in blood, not pencil. Rule 7. If you survive your first shift, you are now marked. The name you gave became part of the menu. Every night, exactly at 3 a.m., you must bring it a Slurpee yourself. Otherwise, it will come for you at home. I bolted out of the store, slamming the door shut. The sun hadn't risen yet, but I ran down 14th Street without looking back. I reached my car, started the engine, and drove away. I was free. Or so I thought. A week passed. I didn't go back to the 7-Eleven. But today, it is exactly 2:59 a.m., and I just discovered that in my trunk, on the back seat, are Doritos, spicy sweet chili, and an empty Slurpee cup. And a quiet tuk-tuk is coming from somewhere underneath. I hope you were listening closely, because if you ever find yourself on the night shift, these rules might be your only defense. I don't know what will happen to Alex at 3 a.m. tonight. I only know one thing. If you like the night shift rules and want to see more stories from the Eternal Archive, please drop a like on this video, and most importantly, subscribe. Share in the comments. Which 7-Eleven rule did you find the most unsettling? Until the next shift. And remember, keep your head down.